How are you? Good morning, everyone. Wow, it feels like just yesterday we were here last October for the ribbon cutting for 4400 Grove, the development that we're in today. Once again, we are gathered to celebrate, but this time we're celebrating the groundbreaking of a brand new business in our community, Bronzeville Winery. Let's give it up. For a century, Bronzeville has been the home of risk takers and entrepreneurs from John H. Johnson to Robert Singh Stack, Abbott. These dreamers dared to dream something different and form something innovative in our community. What they created not only changed our community, but shook the world. They dreamed in the midst of darkness to form a light that would become a beacon of hope for the world. Today, the beacon of hope has turned to the Bronzeville community, thanks to Eric Williams, Cecilia Cuff, and their team. Their venture is the bold vision of what the community could be. A community where the residents are served by a wide variety of amenities that are within walking distance of where they work, where they play, and where they live. Eric is no stranger to this because for years he has been behind the legendary Silver Room Black Party. Yes. Give it up. A placemaking event that brought people from all over the city to celebrate music, fellowship, and culture. For the last few years, we have been privileged to have this event in the 4th Ward, but due to the pandemic last year, it was canceled, and I believe this year as well. Well, but just like energy, things are not destroyed, they simply evolve. The Bronzeville Winery is a continuation of this legacy, and I'm sure it will bring the energy of the arts, culture, good cuisine, fellowship, and not to mention good wine to the Cottage Grove retail corridor. Thank you. This project is a shining example of what public investment can do for a community. Let's not forget this development sits on public land that for generations housed Bronzeville families. After a long process and with public investment, this site shows what can be done and how the community can leverage these resources to support small minority-owned businesses. This mixed-income project shows that not only can we provide affordable housing, we can also support small, locally owned businesses. This is not only a priority of mine, I know this is a priority of our partners in this process, a priority of our mayor, Lori Lightfoot. And before I introduce our illustrious mayor, I would like to acknowledge a few people, especially QCDC. I don't know if it's Executive Director Rhonda McFarland is here. If you are, please raise your hand. Rhonda is Executive Director of QCDC. Their chairman is Shirley Newsom, former alderman. They had the foresight to make sure that small businesses could be in this development. They thought forward in the pro forma to make sure that the rents were at a rate that our small businesses that are bred in our community can be here. So thank you for that foresight, Rhonda. Yes. So, as I was about to introduce our mayor, through her Invest Southwest initiatives, her administration is keeping up the momentum on this kind of investment we need to make sure that Bronzeville Winery and the 4400 Grove are not the exception for development in our community, but the rule. So without further delay, it is my pleasure to welcome Mayor Lori Lightfoot to the Bronzeville community again, and I know it won't be the last because we've got a lot to do, and I appreciate your leadership in that regard. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderwoman King, and good morning, everyone, and good morning, Bronzeville. It's a pleasure to be here In addition to Alderwoman King, let me also recognize our great Congresswoman Bobby Rush, who is here with us. Chicago Department of Planning and Development Commissioner Maurice Cox. And you will hear from the Bronzeville Winery co-owners Eric William and Cecilia Cuff. I want to give a shout out also to Theaster Gates, who is here with us this morning. And just say thank you to all the other elected and dignitaries who helped make this moment possible. Today we're here to take our city's next step toward creating the sustainable, inclusive, and post-pandemic economy we all deserve. One where all residents, no matter their circumstances, are able to start and grow their businesses whenever and wherever they choose in this great city. Today we're here to break ground on Bronzeville Winery, a new Black-owned eatery, wine bar, and cultural space that is set to open this upcoming summer. As a result of co-owners Eric Williams and Cecilia Cuff's vision and purpose to re-illuminate the social, cultural, and economic vibrancy of our historic Bronzeville neighborhood, Bronzeville Winery will feature indoor and outdoor patio dining, elevated dining options, including a culturally inclusive wine list and cocktail menu, live music programming, and Eric knows one or two things about that, and market space for summertime entertainment, community gatherings, regenerative gardens to source microgreens and produce in-house vegetables, and an entrepreneurial development program to incubate minority hospitality leaders, and so much more. It's clear that Eric and Cecilia's vision is embodied in every feature of this incredible project. And it also reflected in the program that this is funded by the initiative in this project will support, namely, two of my administration's signature economic development programs, namely the Reimagine Neighborhood Opportunity Fund and Invest Southwest. Bronzeville Winery is part of this larger development, 4400 Grove, a mixed-use project that we cut the ribbon on just a little over 7 months ago. We were all standing outside when it was a little bit chillier, but the excitement in the room was palpable. 4400 Grove features 84 units for residents to call home, 38 of which are affordable and 21 of which are public housing, and 16,000 square feet of retail and commercial space. Multiple community-based businesses have already committed to leasing this space, all of which are Black-owned, some of whom are Neighborhood Opportunity Fund grant recipients. Now, the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, or NOF, is a program that helps to strengthen commercial corridors on our south, southwest, and west sides by providing commercial and cultural projects with funds generated from downtown development. Now, what do you hear all the time from entrepreneurs? Lack of funding, access to capital is a significant challenge. And we've done everything that we can and more to come to make sure that we eliminate those barriers for Black and brown entrepreneurs. Eric and Cecilia from Bronzeville Winery, as well as Nicole Das from CBQ Facial Beauty Bar, and Sarah Quinyefu and her husband Joseph of Sarah Quinyefu Collections, who are here with us today, are all recipients of this incredible grant program. Emphasis on grant, and I'll talk about that in a moment. This helps create creatives and entrepreneurs from underrepresented backgrounds gain access to the capital, mentorship, and other resources they need to get their projects off the ground. Under my administration, we listened and responded to entrepreneurs who told us that the old version of the NFOF program wasn't working, namely because it was a matching grant. Now, any of you who have tried to open up a business know that if you don't have the resources in the first place, giving somebody a matching grant that they can't access because they can't get the matching funds is like giving them nothing, or even worse than that. So we changed the rules around and made the vast majority of the monies available through NOF a grant, pure and simple. And we have provided technical assistance on NOF applicants on the front end so they could apply, and the winners on the back end to make sure that they could bring their dreams to fruition. So we are trying to provide holistic resources to entrepreneurs to make the dreams real and not just saying, here's money, good luck. So we've totally changed this program, and I think for the better. And let me talk to you a little bit about Invest Southwest. And this is really the brainchild of a lot of people, and I got to give credit to Samir Mayakar, our Deputy Mayor for Economic Development. We came into office with the notion that we had to inject resources into underserved neighborhoods in our city. And for us, we know what that means. It means Black and brown neighborhoods who have not received the kind of intentional investment from the city that our people deserve. So Invest Southwest aims to change that around by funding commercial projects in 12 different neighborhoods, 10 different commercial corridors on the south and the west side, and bringing dreams into fruition. And even in the pandemic year, we invested $70 million and got a return on that investment of $300 million in private and philanthropic capital across our Invest Southwest neighborhoods. Now, folks, there are always skeptics and naysayers. People who will tell you that, quote, if the mayor spends too much time in the neighborhoods, and let's be clear, what they mean is Black and brown neighborhoods, it will mean that the downtown will suffer. They also say that if she, meaning me, focuses on something other than the downtown area, that means I don't understand business. And what I interpret that to mean is that I don't understand that my primary objective should be only focus on supporting white businesses in the Central Business District, River North, South Loop, and West Loop. So here's what I think about that, and here's what I do know. If not me, then who? If not on my watch, then when? The flawed economic theory that if we keep making the same old crowd rich, a couple of pennies might roll to Bronzeville, or Austin, or Roseland, or North Lawndale. They had 30 years to test their theory of economic development. And what happened to our neighborhoods over that time period? We starved. So repeat after me, folks. We are only great when we are all great. We are only great when we are all great, which means we must deal in everybody into the economic prosperity of this city. And I will never apologize for seeing Chicago as being larger and greater than what the downtown simply is. We have to see the city as something that includes neighborhoods south of Roosevelt Road and west of Ashland. We must all be dealt into the wealth of this city in order for all of us to thrive and to grow. That is very clear to me. That is what economic development must be. That is what inclusive recovery must look like. It means that everybody in our city, regardless of zip code, has an opportunity to participate in the prosperity of this city so that all of our children see businesses thriving in their neighborhood, see amenities that they can walk to in every neighborhood. That must be our ambition and our goal. And I'll ask again, if not me, then who? As I've said multiple times over this very difficult year, the only way out of this pandemic is by eliminating systemic inequities it has brought to the surface and eliminating them once and for all. We don't do that by ignoring the problems. We don't do that by kicking the can down the road. We do that by being bold and intentional and unapologetic about our abilities and our focus on making sure that we build a quality of life across every neighborhood for everyone to enjoy. And one of the ways that we are able to do this is by supporting Black and brown entrepreneurs and restoring socioeconomic vibrancy in our Black and brown communities. I've never apologized or worse from making good on this vision. That's what I must be about. That's what we must be about. And today marks an important milestone on that journey. And with that, I invite Cecilia Cuff up to the stand. Please and welcome her.
I don't think there's anything that can prepare me to follow Mayor Lori Lightfoot speaking. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I just want to thank everybody for being here today. My name is Cecilia Cuff, and on behalf of myself, Eric Williams, and the entire Bronzeville Winery team, I think we just want to say thank you to everybody here for being a support to us and being the sense of community, because this room being full right now means more to us on our entrepreneurial journey than I think we could ever explain. Only with our community support and with the support of everybody in this room can we really achieve success and be successful together and bring success to this community. I want to say a special thank you to Rhonda, Tony, and Yvette from the Bronzeville QCDC for the tireless work that you all have put in helping develop us. Rhonda has been a mentor to me throughout this entire process to just forge ahead, to fight for what is right, and I can't thank you enough, Rhonda, for believing in us, myself and Eric, and then this entire Bronzeville community. So thank you for what you've brought to this community. I definitely want to thank Ruben Waddy and Sophia from the NOF. I've called Ruben probably 5 to 6 times a day since the process. Ruben, your skills as a project manager, but not only a coach, have been incomparable, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you for all your support. Bryn Shore-Michaels' team, Greg Olson specifically, thank you for this development. Greg, I want to thank you for taking that really important step of going the opposite direction in development. You allowed us a space to be inclusive. You allowed us an equitable space, and that statement in itself means more than anything that you could ever put forward as far as a marketing campaign. So thank you. It means a lot to our community. And then finally, to our unofficial mentors and our unofficial guardian angels, Kevin Point, who's in the room, who's act as a financial guardian for us. Eric Williams from Virtue Restaurant, who has kind of acted as our beacon of light. I want to thank you all both, because the work that you put in and the hours that you volunteered to us to help us to find our way, there's nothing that we could ever say thank you enough, but we will definitely try to make up for it in free meals and food. So. And to our teams who have helped us to build this from day one, Future Firm, Ann and Craig, all of your work. We have had an amazing partnership with Future Firm. They've been with Eric since the very beginning, but their ability to design, their ability to be forward-thinking and equitable within their architecture and design has been unmatched, and as well as B. Leonard Construction, Bertley and your team, thank you so much for building this beautiful space. I will say that when we started this project, we actually interviewed 4 different general contractors, and the biggest breaking point for us was which contractor is going to reinvest in this neighborhood and which contractor is going to offer opportunity to subcontractors that are representative of the people that we want to see in our restaurant, and B. Leonard answered that call. So thank you, Bertley, for making that a priority. I definitely want to say thank you to the community for their support. Again, this is the only way that we can be successful. This is a project that is for us, by us, and that we want to actually resonate throughout the whole entire world. But I can't stop that by saying thank you first to the pioneers that are not only in this room, because there are so many entrepreneurs, so many business owners, so many people who have made a statement, and that all starts with our Congressman Bobby Rush for the work that he has put in for us. I truly believe that had he not stood up for what he believed in the 60s, there's no way that I would be here right now. So thank you. And then additionally, Mayor Lori Lightfoot for believing in us, because I think that belief really helps us to be able to cultivate our own community. So thank you. Sorry. I think for Eric and I, the idea that entrepreneurship can bring a sense of reciprocity in communities is a really important idea. We want to reinvest in our Black communities, and Eric Williams has been doing that throughout the community for years and years. Without any help, before there were grants, before there were programs, he worked really, really hard to set this stage. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here as well. So thank you, Eric. I think for us, Bronzeville Winery is more than just a restaurant. We'll have an incredible wine list. We'll have lobster macaroni and cheese. We'll have brunch on Sundays with shrimp and grits and amazing French toast, and we will be here for a community space. But I think what we also want to know is, what we want everyone to know is that we are committed to developing the next generation of entrepreneurs. Through our entrepreneurial and hospitality development program, we are committed to reinvesting in our own team to be able to build the next generation of hospitality entrepreneurs. So by finding local students, by finding local people who are eager to put in the work, just like Eric and myself did, we are committed to developing them through our own resources and to be able to build the next level, the next generation of entrepreneurs who are able to own their own restaurant, who are able to run their own kitchens, who are able to have that dream that they are able to achieve that level of success, because it is accessible to everyone through hard work, through programs like Mayor Lori Lightfoot has put together for us. But again, it's through a lot of hard work, and if anybody knows hospitality industry, there's a lot of hard work in that. I think, what we want to make sure that we are communicating is that we can live, grow, and work and celebrate in our own community. So I'm grateful to be part of writing the next chapter of Bronzeville through Bronzeville Winery, and I look forward to having this incredible journey and sharing with all of you throughout our journey. So thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. And I wanted to bring up Eric as well, Eric Williams. He said he didn't want to speak. So we wanted to present the mayor with a small token of our appreciation, and the first token of our appreciation. It's a Bronzeville Winery bag with a bottle of champagne that you have to share with us whenever we open.
Actually didn't have anything to say, but thank you, everybody. Mayor, I probably called everybody in this room at some point to ask them for some advice, some help, for some money, so at some point, I just want to say thank you. I've seen the power of small business, for the last 25 years. Having my store first in Wicker Park and knowing what that neighborhood was 25 years ago and how it changed because of small businesses. I've seen it. I see it now in Hyde Park. People who would never come to Hyde Park before now come because of the Block Party or because of Virtue or these small businesses. So I'm super excited about how this space can help to change this commercial corridor. So yeah, that's really it. I'm happy. Thank you for all the support. Folks have been asking me about when we're going to open. We're trying to open end of summer. This man right here, Bertley, see the guy here? Raise your hand. So Burley is our GC, our general contractor. So he's the one that keeps track of the schedule. So if we're late opening, it's all his fault. So you got pressure on you now, so let's give him a hand. So.
Hello, everyone. What a beautiful, beautiful room. I don't know, this is even before it's built out. Just look around and see a little bit of the clientele you will see in the future. So thank you, Mayor Lightfoot. It's really just inspiring to see this vision come to fruition. And Alderman King in the 4th Ward, it's kind of nice to be back for another groundbreaking, many, many more to come. And I'm spending a lot of time with Congressman Rush, who has also just been there and making many of these things happen. So thank you all. I particularly want to thank these 2 local visionaries who have brought their passion for curating beautiful spaces and beautiful experiences together to create the Bronzeville Winery. So Cecilia and Eric, just thank you for finding each other and just bringing your talent to the South Side. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about what I feel is really going on here, because it's really strategic and it's a change in how we do business. We are talking about deploying public dollars in new and very, very different ways. The Neighborhood Opportunity Fund is supporting, just this past year, 60 entrepreneurs who are taking these grants and they're multiplying them. So June 30th, we announced the grant for the Bronzeville Winery. It's $250,000. These entrepreneurs have turned that into a $700,000 investment. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to multiply those public dollars and attract private investment. So thank you for doing that, leveraging that grant and making this happen. It's also about delivering on the promise of Invest Southwest. It's talking about catalytic investments. And so projects like the winery are the beginning, but do understand that there are other investments that we are clustering around this very, very same space. And I'll talk a little bit about that. What is hard to see, and it's already starting to build out, is how a small interior architecture can be the catalyst for a whole ecosystem of businesses that are going to spring up on this block. And so I have to give a shout out to Future Firm, who I think is in the house, who are producing a gorgeous, gorgeous building. And I will say, there you are, I see you back there, Ann and Craig. I think it's going to be one of those must-see locations throughout Chicago. People are going to be coming to this location to not just have, a good meal and drink wine, but just to take in the ambiance, the architecture. And so I think Future Firm, they are so popular with NOF winners. There are 5 different entrepreneurs that are seeking to work with them to help curate their visions. So thank you guys for answering the call that design kind of really matters here. So the other part is what we're trying to do in terms of clustering these businesses together so that they can succeed together. So we have a request for developer proposals that's we are currently evaluating. It's on 47th and Vincine. It's a half-acre site that is city-owned, been long since vacant. We received 3 extraordinary mixed-use development proposals for that site that we'll be evaluating and we will be announcing in June as a part of the whole Invest Southwest strategy. And then there are many, many, many small businesses along this corridor and throughout the neighborhood that we'll be supporting. And I want to give a shout out to CBQ Beauty Bar that will be happening just down the way here, and the House of Africa clothing store that will be the next in line to open up their businesses. So I don't know if they're here, but more are coming. There you are. Awesome. And so part of the strategy is to cluster these businesses. And you say, well, why do they have to be so close? Because we actually believe that success begets success, begets success, and then together they will change the entire area and create a destination. That's part of the strategy. And I think that it is particularly important when we look at how investments have been done in places that have been deprived of that kind of investment. You spread the investment so far apart that there's no synergy. So I am confident that we are seeing the cornerstone of a new district on Cottage through this investment. So I'll just stop and close by just thanking again Cecilia and Eric and everyone on their team that made this happen. And I also want to thank my team, Patrick Brutus, Sophia, Kimberly, who have worked to bring these entrepreneurs to this day. And I'm looking forward to having a glass of wine and a good meal in a matter of months. So thank you, thank you.
All right, happy to take any questions.
I have the mic right here.
All right. Last call. There's somebody back there. Go back there.
Good morning, Mayor. I don't know if you could hear me through my Chicago
Yeah,
mask.
just talk a little bit louder.
Okay, you got it. Nobody ever tells me that. So more than a year ago, your office passed on a complaint of widespread sexual violence among the Park District's lifeguards. I just want to ask two questions very briefly. How confident are you that the Park District acted with adequate speed, transparency, and resources for the victims? And what would be your message to the victims or the young people who are applying to go to work this summer at the beaches and pools, knowing that some of the other people working next to them may be under investigation for this sort of unfortunate and very severe thing?
Well, obviously, I respect the independence of the Park District and Inspector General to continue what is an ongoing investigation. So I'm not going to go too deep into the conversations, but the bottom line is this. We can't tolerate, and nor will we tolerate, any circumstances where there's an environment that young people are put at risk, or that anyone is put at risk in an unsafe environment. So I'm following the developments quite closely, and I have made it very clear that they need to get to the bottom of this, get to it quickly. There's going to be some additional training and screening that goes on to make sure that the people who are populating the aquatic division of the Park District understand what their responsibilities are, but also knowing that we will not tolerate any misconduct.
Just one follow-up. Could you please specify, when you say additional resources relative to previous years, could you specify what the additional
Yeah, I'm going to refer you to the Park District on that, but I know that they have plans in place to do some additional training, particularly around what needs to happen in a workplace to make it safe for everyone, and additional training regarding this issue. But as I said, we have to create an environment where everyone is safe. I appreciate that this work actually started before the initial before the complaints that you're talking about. The Inspector General for the Park District opened up an investigation, and as systematically as they must, going through this, trying to understand the depths of the issue. And the Park District has already taken action against some of the individuals who were found to be lacking. And where appropriate, I've urged them to make referrals to the appropriate criminal law enforcement authorities.
Has it been referred to the police?
I don't have specifics on that, but I'm urging them to do that if the investigation determines that criminal conduct has taken place.
Mayor, Diane from Channel 7, just two questions. One, I know
there you are. Sorry. There's a bright light over your head, so I didn't see you. Sorry.
The Alvarez shooting video is
Yeah.
going to be released by COPA today. If we can get your reaction on that, and also VaxPass, if we can get your thoughts on a vaccination passport possibly coming this summer.
Well, let me take this the second question first. We are constantly looking at ways in which we can incentivize folks to get the vaccine. And I'm going to take advantage of being here in this crowd to say uptake among Black Chicagoans still lags behind every other demographic. So we really need, particularly 18 to 44, where we're seeing the lowest uptick, we need you to get vaccinated. Do it, of course, for yourself, but for your family, for your grandparents. And when you get vaccinated, it's going to be an easier return to a different life. I won't say our normal old life, because I don't think that's ever coming back. But I think the opportunities for opening up the city increase with the number of people who get vaccinated. So please, folks, there's plenty of opportunity now all over the city to get vaccinated for free. Let me emphasize that, for free. So Don't be a bystander. Get in the game. Get yourself vaccinated. But we're going to be looking at ways in which we can incentivize people to get vaccinated, and do that by looking at preferred seating, preferred admission. So that's still very much a work in progress, and we'll have more to say on that in the coming days. And then the first part of your question regarding the Alvarez shooting, yes, it's my understanding that the family was able to view the various videos yesterday afternoon. My further understanding is that the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is going to be releasing those videos later this morning. This morning we put out a joint statement with the family acknowledging the loss of life and the tragedy, and of course calling for peace. I won't and don't comment on ongoing investigations. Not only is there an investigation by COPA, but as this protocol, this matter was referred to the State's Attorney's Office for evaluation. But I will say this, we can't live in a world where a minor traffic offense results in someone being shot and killed. That's not acceptable to me, and it shouldn't be acceptable to anyone. And again, this shooting involved a foot chase. The department is making progress on my directive to revise the foot chase policy. As I've said before, it's one of the most dangerous activities that officers engage in, dangerous for themselves, dangerous for the person being pursued, and dangerous for members of the public. But it is unacceptable that a minor traffic offense resulted in death. Now, I don't want to get ahead of that. There's going to be a lot that will be said. The video will come out. I urge everyone to look at both the raw footage at real speed, but also to look at the frame by frame, which will also be available. I understand, having investigated many of these shootings, that officers are, in many instances, called upon to make split-second decisions, particularly in instances like this one where there's a gun. Nonetheless, a traffic incident should not result in the death of anyone. So we have more work to do, to be sure.
A question for the mayor, but I kind of wanted to ask Eric and Cecilia something first, if that's all right. Wondered if you could say specifically how Invest Southwest has benefited your business. Any way that city help has specifically helped the Bronzeville Winery, and then secondly, if you could speak specifically about kind of the way the business is going to operate. I know you spoke a little bit about lobster, macaroni, and cheese, and that kind of thing, but if you can brag a little bit about how awesome the business is going to be, more detail that I can put in my story is going to obviously benefit.
No, I would love that, and I appreciate you asking a question about the restaurant, so
Yeah.
thank you. So I guess I just wanted to, speak to first the support. So I think that from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I can say that one of the first people that believed in me will actually be taking the position as managing director of Bronzeville Winery, Amy Brown. So had it not been for her, with the help of the Pritzkers, who believed in me as a young entrepreneur when I still lived across the street from Silver Room, would be the first person to go to bed because I had to be up early to make sure that my boss was happy. That kind of set me up for what it meant to be a young Black entrepreneur, specifically in the city of Chicago. From that time on, I think for about 15 years, I spent my time moving around and seeing how much development and entrepreneurship could make on a community, but it was never in my community. So I think from us, that gets paired with it's the will, and it's also the support of programs like the NOF and Invest Southwest. So I think that NOF understands and Invest Southwest understands that there's a multifaceted needs when it comes to developing a business, and that's anything from setting up expectations, or people like Ruben who act as your project manager to work you through every step of the way as far as, making sure that you're holding people accountable, making sure that you are locating the right contractors. The NOF does a great job on many different levels, understanding the many needs of business owners. So I think that would be the greatest asset to me, besides the financial assets of the program. So I think not only do they understand that we need a grant or that we need that, I think it also helps to understand that grant is very necessary due to the lack of equity that comes from lending institutions and their inability to give loans to and their inability to.
How much was the grant?
The grant was for $250,000.
Yeah.
So it's a substantial grant. But again, I think that something that Eric said before is that there are certain segments of people that get grants or that certain segments of people that get funding from banks, and there are certain segments of people that just get programs. I think the Black community needs more access to capital and less just one and done programs. So I think that I think that the NOF has displayed a deep understanding of that by assigning project managers, by creating general contractor allies, by creating just people who are taking the call to action to be able to be that support in our community. So the NOF, I think, does a great job from a roundabout way of supporting us in all of those facets.
And the restaurant is going to be super sick because...
And I think as far as the restaurant, everybody knows Eric Williams. He is so Eric and I, you'll see, have a really interesting dichotomy within the restaurant. I'm probably going to be the one in the background. I'm the boring one. I make the budgets. I make sure that it works. I fill out the permits. Sophia, you'll probably hear from me quite a bit as well. I tend to make it work. I will be the one leading our entrepreneurship program, which is something that I believe in. So being able, through my representation, to inspire the next generation of leaders who look like myself, who are from the neighborhood, reinvesting in them to work with our local banks to teach them things like a paycheck match program that will allow us to help them to buy their own first home instead of just renting in their own neighborhood. I think we're committed to making sure that we have entrepreneurs and mentors like Eric Williams. I think I saw you, Eric Williams, who does an amazing job of inspiring people and understanding the values of working hard, understanding the reasons of why we do what we do. So I think that from a back end, perspective will be what I think is really cool about the restaurant. And I would say the reason that I really enjoy partnering with Eric, because he's like one of those people that's naturally cool. He just wakes up and just is like that. So not only will we have a sound system and make sure that our acoustics are on point so it's not too loud, he's working with Ron Trent, who is a world-renowned DJ, to actually design a sound system that will sound amazing. But Greg Olson, don't worry, we will make sure it's sound attention, and it won't be too loud for the residents. And then additionally, from a food and beverage standpoint, we'll be growing a lot of our own in-house grown greens. There are a ton of Chicago community farm shares that we'll be supporting as well. So a lot of what we actually will be able to serve to our diners will actually be sourced from right inside their neighborhood. So as we grow, the neighborhood around us grows with us. Additionally, I can say that we have one of the few female Black sommeliers who is radiant in the room, Anika Ellison. She has led some of the best wine programs throughout the city of Chicago. So from a wine perspective, we'll be able to offer an unparalleled experience that you would find in downtown Chicago, that you would find in downtown New York, that you would find anywhere, because we want to show people that Bronzeville, Chicago is on par with that. So we want to not only accept our people from the restaurant, from our people from the neighborhood, people who live above us, people who walk down the street, and show them that they can have a space that is created for us, by us. But additionally, we want people to come from other places so that we can add to that sense of representation so they can walk in and know what a Black-owned eatery actually is.
Let me just pick up on one point that Cecilia made, so I'll be a little more direct, because that's what I do. And this goes out to the banks out there, to the finance companies. You need to finance Black and brown entrepreneurs. We all watched last summer, after the tragic murder of George Floyd. Companies, large and small, put out these statements, what I call the "we love Black and brown people" statements. Put your money where your mouth is. It's not enough to have a mission statement. It's not enough to say you will do at some future date. Put your money where your mouth is now. Invest in these entrepreneurs. There are banks and lenders that are doing the right thing. I'm going to call out Goldman Sachs, who's doing a program that's going to be phenomenal, billions of dollars over a multi-year standpoint, but it's not enough. Banks here in Chicago, if you want to be a Chicago bank, be a Chicago bank. Don't be a bank for one neighborhood only. Don't be a bank for a certain class of businesses only. Expand your horizon. Why are we here using the bully pulpit of the mayor's office in neighborhoods like Bronzeville, like Austin, like North Lawndale, Pullman, and the list goes on and on? Because we want to demonstrate that we have skin in the game so we can attract others to have skin in the game. But we're going to keep pushing. We're going to do everything we can. And shaming works. And if we got to do that, we will do it. But we are going to be shining a spotlight on those folks who step up and honor this moment and honor their commitments, and to see that we can't be a great city if people are left behind. So, more to come.
I'll ask about policing reform another time, because I am curious. I mean, how can your administration use policy to get more equitable investment in Black communities? You're saying bully pulpit, but I mean, can you bring a hammer on these financial institutions to actually do it? It strikes me that you come to the South Side. I mean, you were here in October, literally on this property to talk about this property opening. I know you were in Greater Grand Crossing the other day. You come from time to tout a property opening. Yeah, I'm just curious about it.
I think it's happening. I mean, the fact that even in the pandemic year, we put in $70 million and got $300 million back in private and philanthropic contributions. People are understanding when the mayor speaks, it carries a certain amount of weight. But it's not enough for me just to talk. We have to also put our own skin in the game, and we have to push others to join us in this exercise. We are working our tails off every day to do just that, and we will continue to do that. But we have very intense conversations with those who can and should be doing more, and I'm very unequivocal about what my expectations are, and that they've got to start investing in neighborhoods who have not historically seen the kind of investments in home ownership, in small business, in lines of credit. Those are the lifelines of vitality for economic rebirth in our neighborhoods. Now's the time to do it, as we're thinking about what the recovery looks like, what the future of financial and economic welfare of our city look like. They need to be here and be present as well, and many have stepped up, but we're going to keep pushing them to do more.
You name names.
Say again?
You name names of people who aren't stepping up.
Who aren't stepping up? I think you catch more flies with honey, and I leave the salt for the behind doors conversations.
Okay. Hi, good morning, Mayor. Cecilia with the Chicago Tribune. Just want to ask a question about an investigation that we did on fatal fires with the BGA in Chicago, where we found that there were systemic problems with the way that we currently handle serious issues in homes. We found that city officials found and knew about fire safety hazards like not enough exits or lack of smoke detectors, and about 1 in 3 fires that killed 61 people, most of them Black and Latino. And we have asked your office to comment on this report already, but I wanted to ask you here today, as we're talking about investment, can we get a response from you about the safety in homes that affects everybody in the city?
Well, my recollection of your reporting was on historical events, most of which took place before I came into office. And I know that our building commissioner and other folks that have responsibility for the regulatory enforcement of building codes and so forth spent hours talking with you.
So,
just let me finish, please. Sure. I don't recall from my review of the reporting whether or not you included any of the current work that has been done. For example, the update to the building scofflaw laws that we just put into place. So it's an interesting historical piece, but I have to deal with the here and now, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right, are we good?
So the investigation was about fires in previous
I'm sorry?
years. The investigation was about fires in previous years in a previous administration, but we're currently having the same process to ensure safety.
I don't believe that that's accurate. As I said, there's a lot that has been done in the 2 years since I've been mayor to make sure that we're stepping up enforcement of building code violations, making sure that we've got a streamlined process for holding people accountable and not just having a set of random lists that really mean nothing. So I think that we have stepped up and done some very good work. We've just instituted a new set of rules on building scofflaws, which literally the city council just passed, as you well know. So give us some time to breathe life into some of these new initiatives. But again, I think your piece is great as a historical piece about what took place years before. Thank you.
Last question.
Hi. Thank you so much, Mayor. Just to follow up on the Anthony Alvarez case, the police department said that they're working to change the foot pursuit policies. Do you have a timeline? Because the police department really hasn't given any sort of timeline. So.
Well, look, I think what's important, and obviously I'm anxious to get that done sooner rather than later. As you know, as a candidate back in 2018, I identified foot chases as a significant challenge that couldn't be put off to another day, but the then administration agreed to a consent decree, which pushed it off for effectively 3+ years. So I'm anxious to get a new policy, but we've got to do it the right way. And what I've encouraged the department to do is to make sure that they're engaging on the front end with key stakeholders, not the least of which is line police officers who are going to be responsible for implementing whatever the new policy is. We have to have their voices as well as the community voices in those discussions and reflected in any new policy before it is presented to the public for comment. And that work is ongoing right now. So I'm hopeful that sometime in May, I'll just put it without a date, that we'll be rolling out a new policy for public comment.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.